between men and women right now. And I want to share something I've been realizing about why men seem to be getting better while most women are struggling more. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Men have all these platforms teaching them accountability and how to level up. But when I look at what we as women are consuming, it honestly made me realize something important. Men have podcasts like Fresh and Fit and Jocko podcast teaching discipline, Jordan Peterson teaching accountability, David Goggins teaching mental toughness, and there's so many more. They're consuming content that pushes them to build themselves up and take responsibility. But I started noticing what we as women are consuming. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Call Her Daddy, Girls Gotta Eat, Real Housewives, Love Island, and there's just so many more. And I realized this content is programming us to create more drama, feel more entitled, and expect things without bringing anything valuable ourselves. I see influencers like Sheer7, Miss Sprinkle Sprinkle, teaching manipulation tactics, and others like Ari Keitsia, if that's how you say it, promoting OnlyFans culture, teaching us that our value comes from our sexuality instead of building actual skills or character. So we have reality TV teaching us drama, podcasts teaching us entitlement, and influencers teaching us toxic behaviors. While men are learning discipline, accountability, and how to build real value. I think the reason men don't consume this toxic content is because they don't tolerate drama. But we as women tend to be more drawn to emotional and social content, which makes us more susceptible to this programming.
I think men don't consume that content because it's content like that is geared towards pushing and pulling you emotionally, and that often doesn't work well in men's life. Also, from the very she's absolutely right on this point, but it's one of those things that we're socially programmed early on when we raise our men, our boys and girls differently. Women are often taught that you're already good enough, that as you are intrinsically, your value is already there and set. With men, we're not taught that. We're taught that you're only as good as what you last did, what you last provided. That becomes reflected in our relationships. That becomes reflected in what we consume, becomes reflected in who we are. So you content like that doesn't really appeal to women because what are you trying to improve? What is there left to improve when you intrinsically were taught you're already good as you are? Before we do a deeper dive into this, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you know you already been subscribed to the channel, you suddenly just seeing this and just popping up randomly, you haven't seen videos in weeks, where you been? Where have you been? Where have you been? But we know it's the notification bell. So welcome back. And for the those that just subscribed to the channel, glad to have you here. Um, Still doing two a day, still trying to pay this rent. So to what she said, in terms of, and this is when I think we're trying to look at it objectively and just in terms of what is being consumed, what is being put out there. The question is are these the things, the tools that men use to level up, or are they doing better than women in a sense? That's debatable by whatever metric you want to use, depending what source you're looking at. If it's online, then that's not really what is being pushed out there. But realistically, the things that men, and I'm saying from my point of view, the things that are pushed my way, the things I tend to consume, outside of just looking at content for the channel, most of it, yeah, it's motivational. It's Jocko, right? It's David Goggins. It's motivational little clips like that that I usually have in my ear when I'm going about my business, when I'm in the gym, or when I have a spare moment. Most of the stuff I consume is about, as I'm becoming an older man, it's this historical context, right? Historical wars and stuff like that. But that's a rite of passage. But it's about things about how I can get better. When I'm out with my friends or I'm communicating with my friends, it's about how I can get better. That is so tied into who we are as men that we can go so far with it becomes a detriment. We were no longer actually stopping to smell the roses because we're thinking my value is completely tied into what I can produce, what I am producing, what I'm about to produce. Women are given stuff, we're saying, hey, this is fun, has drama, This is going to make you feel something. Part of the stuff that we consume as men, the motivational stuff, the stuff that makes you want to do better. There's a part in there where it tears you down, where it has you look at yourself critically and say, here are the areas where you are weak. Here are the areas where you are lacking, and you know you've been lacking. You know you've been lying to yourself. This is the time to get up and get the stuff done. When that alarm clock goes off early in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed, you're not telling yourself, men are not coaxing themselves out of bed by giving them positive affirmations. You're so beautiful, you're so talented. No, they're saying, get up, you lazy piece of shit. That doesn't really work with women. So over time, can there start to be a separation? I think absolutely. On average, if by what you're consuming is by what you are, what you're consuming is what you now end up repeating and living by, yes. I think that becomes a very big that small things becomes a big gulf over time. When you constantly are having this part of you as men broken down and rebuilt, broken down and rebuilt, broken down and rebuilt every day or several times a week, it stacks. It just stacks. But when you're already told that you're everything that you should be, where's your motivation to do better? This is not saying naturally. This is not saying that women don't do this. That women don't have their periods to say, "Okay, I have to get better." But some of these things come later on in life when you start realizing that life has kind of lied to you, or society's kind of lied to you. And life is showing you this is what it is. That we all get to a point in life where you get what you've earned. You're no longer giving stuff because your intrinsic value. Hey, she's beautiful, so I'm going to give her this. On a long enough timeline, when that beauty fades, that's when the life has been like, I've been trying to tell you this entire time, but I couldn't get to you because of the beauty filter, because you had that up. Now that that has faded and intention is gone, and you're no longer getting things just for free. Like I saw another a content creator. She said going outside is free for her because she's beautiful. She was going outside is free, and imagine living that life for years, for 20, 30 years, and then dealing with that sudden drop off where going outside stops being free, where you stop getting the attention that you've had that sustained you your entire life. Now you don't really have the operation, you don't have the paradigms of building yourself up. You had 30, 40 years where you were just granted this because you were beautiful. Now it's time to say, now life is saying, hey, those things that you want, now you have to earn them. Men start off that way, knowing they have to earn whatever they have in life. So it's no wonder, linking this to other content, it's no wonder that men get to a point where they're like, I don't want to give this up. Even when women are saying, Yo, you're so afraid of gold diggers, but you don't have any gold to dig. Well, whatever he does have, he earned it. That's his goal. It may not be a lot, it may not be impressive, but when you realize what it takes for you to have that, you're less likely willing to just part with it. That's why you see like scammers throwing money or bad guys throwing money at you because they have no link to that money. It was stolen, it's someone else's, they got it quick, they're fine giving it away. But when it took you time to do that because you had to grind, you had to level up, and men also understand just because you grind and you do the work doesn't mean you're still guaranteed that pie in the sky sort of dream. But you'll be better than you were the day before, and the day before that, and the year before that. So I think there's a very big difference in what we consume versus, and then how it shows up in our life, how it shows up in our demeanors, and how it shows up in our reactions. And I think over time, absolutely, it creates this wide gulf where the way we envision leveling up, it's probably different. When men are thinking about leveling up, it's in the societal sense, it's in a monetary sense, it's in a physicality sense. I think when women think about leveling up, it's in an emotional sense, it's in a grounding sense, and finding their place in the world, the society. But one of those has more value on the dating market. One of those has more value to to the other gender. Women like, okay, men are looking and say, okay, you're grounded. You didn't have to be this grounded or this. But men know, on the other hand, if I did not become who I am, I never would be having this conversation with you. I would have been deemed worthy to have this conversation. But one of these things, one of these evolutions or the strategy is more valued than others. And I think when we understand that, when men are consuming stuff like this, they understand that makes them more valuable. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If you see videos on your screen right now, take a look at those. Let me know what you think about those in those videos as well. And of course, if you listen to the sound of my voice right now, you have not subscribed, get on the train. You know we got to go pay the rent. I'll see you in the next one.